Hey guys, welcome back to the Chronicle podcast. Today joining me is Guiltare and Neon Graystone. As always, I am your host, Marcus Chronicle. Guys, how are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful.
Pretty good day.
So, it's been a few weeks since the last podcast. I would like to go and say that I've been talking about how I've almost got the Digimon video done for a while, and it came out. It came out last Monday. So that was a project. There was one day at work where I looked at one of my friends who also has a YouTube channel and also does some reviews from time to time. I looked at him and said, "Do not ever review a 54 episode show at once. It is a mistake." And then I went home and started editing again.
Yeah, as you do.
Knowing full well I was going to finish it and immediately do it again.
My.
What are you working on now?
I was telling Guiltare I'm almost done with the season 2 script, which is I have 6 episodes left to watch. And so far, the script is 4 pages longer.
Okay, so that'll be fun to edit too.
Well, I'm gonna do something smarter where I'm not gonna record all the audio at once before I start editing. I'm gonna record what I can, edit it down, and then record what I can.
Yeah, I mean, a process of it.
Yeah.
How's the work with that?
What was that, Guiltare?
So agreeing, like, yeah, but good to spread out the work a little bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's also smart because I got that drawing tablet a couple weeks ago, and the one thing I said I was going to do was I was going to start making vectors. And once I realized how long the Digimon video was going to be, I went, I'm not going to put vectors in here. I don't care. I'll use the old image until I am done with these Digimon videos. And about a minute into the Digimon video, when I was editing the actual video, I went, I gotta start using the vectors. I have them. They're right there. It'd be so easy. So I used the vectors, which increased some time. But I definitely like how I did that, because I learned that I can. I started editing with the special effects. So I toyed around with some of those.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
I'm really happy with how the video came out. It's probably the best looking video I've done.
Well, congrats, man, definitely.
Yeah, proud of you.
On top of that, I don't know if I told you, Guiltare, but I have a Teesprings account, and I created your mug.
Oh?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah. I'm still working on some other stuff, but I have your mug on there. I think it's the only thing I have there. If I can find out where there they are. Probably under listings. Yep. The Dungeon Master coffee cup. And it's just a white mug with a box and the letters DM on them.
I'll take your entire stock.
Oh, God.
That's all it is.
I love it already.
When we all move into an apartment together, I'm ordering a sample and just giving it to you.
Oh, thank you.
Because it'll be cheaper than if you buy it.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Heart.
That is holy. If we ever do get that D&D campaign filmed, you're going to have that mug on everything.
I am. Like, even if we don't, if we're just playing like Animal Crossing or something, I'm gonna have it. Yeah, I'm gonna have a mug. Have it.
It was the first thing I said I was going to design. And I've started working on... Well, I have some stuff in Photoshop ready, like templates ready for me to start making some other designs because I like designing things. I will also say I got a comment the other day that I really enjoyed. Someone asked me why my avatar was so cool.
Wow.
Yeah, I was really happy about it because you don't get many comments like that, like ever. I don't think I've ever seen someone ask that on any channel, so I'm really happy I got that.
Yeah, man.
Anyone see anything fun recently?
Yeah, I've had a busy couple of weeks. Been watching a few things. Watching and reading a few things I've had on my list for a while. Thing I actually binge read just yesterday, and yes, I am the kind of guy who binge reads. But binge read this series called Chainsaw Man, and
Oh God.
no, it sounds dumb, but is A, hilarious, and B, I genuinely like the power system in it. It's really cool. And
Okay.
yeah, and I have it's one of the few things I've read that has made me laugh out loud. Literally every chapter. Well, not every chapter. The most recent ones were really, really dark.
Yeah, it gets gory.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Then there was that. Started watching Lucky on Netflix, which best way I could make it describe it is it's just JoJo's without any of the magical stuff. It's really, really strong men, and all of the ridiculousness. It's actually pretty good. Up to episode 9, where a very old man was singing French opera in Japan in Japanese while he kicked a man's teeth out, and that was fun. And here they just started a series called Doro Hidoro. So very good.
Okay. Neon, have you started watching that anime I recommended to you?
Not yet. I've started watching Gotham. My little sister was really into it, and she wanted to hang out and watch it. But we do plan to watch it sometime this week or next.
Yeah.
But Gotham's pretty cool. It's like it's decent, but I did finish seasons 1, 2, and 3 of JoJo's finally.
Okay.
Ooh.
I'm now on Diamond is Unbreakable. I'm like 8 or 9 episodes in.
Ah, great. Diamond is Unbreakable, in my opinion, one of the best parts.
My complaint with the Stardust Crusaders though is I wish they hadn't, like, I don't know what they did to what's it, Joe, he's an old man in that one.
Joseph Joestar?
Yeah, Joseph. They like really weakened Joseph, it felt like.
I mean, he's an old man. He hasn't really been practicing the Hamon.
It just, I don't know. And then now that I'm a couple episodes into Diamond is Unbreakable, it feels like they're doing a similar thing to Jotaro.
Yeah, that one's less justifiable.
Because it's like 10 years after he beat like the embodiment of evil and like several other powerful enemies, and he seems weaker, even though he should be getting stronger.
Somewhat.
But I don't know. I'm only a couple episodes in, so we'll see how it goes.
Remember, one talked to the author about that, and apparently his reasoning was that like around that time his daughter was just born, so he took some time off from exploring and fighting to take care of her. Something along those lines.
Okay. Guiltare, I know Neon said that you might have seen this. Have you seen Angel Beats?
I love Angel Beats.
Yeah, I told you he went on about it once.
That's the one I suggested Neon watch. I watched it I think 2011. It was either 2010 or 2011. It was when it first came out, and I was on Netflix a couple weeks ago, just going, man, I want to watch something. This is the one I should have been editing, so I really did not want to be doing that. But I started watching Girls und Panzer. I watched that show. It's if you haven't seen it, it's a show about a bunch of high school girls in tanks shooting at other high school girls in tanks. And it is so stupid, it is worth a watch. I would recommend it. And when I finished that, I was just going through my list and went, man, I haven't seen Angel Beats in so long. It is one of the best shows I've seen in a while. Because what's that anime? It's the type of, it's always those types of animes, like someone dies and ends up somewhere else in a new world, whatever. It's one of those. Only
Isekai.
Yeah, it's an isekai anime, only 1,000 times better than every other isekai anime ever made. Because it's not sitting there going, oh well, everything's an RPG. No, I mean they do have it's a video game thing where they're constantly talking about it's a video game, but even then, that's so nothing to do with the story.
It's more like trying to rationalize what's going on rather than actually being a video game. Like these people going around who are like killers in place of people who have no souls, and they call them NPCs and stuff like that.
Yeah. I will say, second time watching it, I remembered two things about the show, and only two things. How the show ended, the very last scene of the show, and the fact that the main character didn't have a heart. That was it. That's all I remembered. So going in, the first thing that happens is the main character gets stabbed in the chest, and I just go, aha, joke's on you, he doesn't have a heart. I just stopped going, that's morbid.
I haven't seen Angel Beats.
It's a 10-year-old show. Who cares?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure Angel Beats was like the first anime I ever watched. It was an anime. Like, obviously, I watched all the classics like Naruto and One Piece when I was a kid, but this was the first one that said anime. I don't know.
Oh, did anyone see that One Piece is on Netflix now?
Yeah.
Really? It's
just up to Alabaster, so... Yeah.
It's like, they're not even... It's the East Blue arc.
Yeah. Like, it splits them up into arcs, and it ends at the end of Alabaster, so... I'm not gonna watch it on Netflix, because that's not the arc I'm on.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when I saw it. I'm like, awesome, it has it, and then I'm like, wait. Netflix Japan has it, though, up to almost current, I think. But you'd have to watch it subbed.
Okay. But Angel Beats was the first anime you watched that you knew was an anime?
Oh, yeah.
That's curious, because I don't know the first anime I watched knowing it was an anime.
Like, looking back, I'm not sure how I didn't realize that was the case for like Naruto and One Piece. Like, I don't know why, but when I was like 8, I thought that Naruto was just a common name in like California or something. I don't know. But
you told me the story.
For me, it was probably Bleach. It had to have been Naruto or Bleach. It had to be one of those.
I think mine was Inuyasha.
It also could have been Inuyasha. I saw a few episodes of Inuyasha, but I don't know if I knew if it was an anime or not. I know the first anime I saw was 100% either Digimon or Pokemon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but as a kid, you're just like, wow, these are some awesome cartoons. Why aren't the others like this?
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was probably Pokemon. Pokemon was probably my first anime. Because I have memories of watching Pokemon when I was, under the age of 4. But my first memory of watching Digimon is going, oh, cool, Digimon's on. I love this show. So I don't know when I first watched Digimon.
Well, the thing with Pokemon is it was one of the few, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! And, like, Bakugan were one of the few, some of the few that aired, like, early in the day.
Yeah. Well,
for, like, Naruto and Bleach and stuff, you had to watch those, like...
late at night.
Oh yeah, almost midnight.
11 or so.
Can I help you?
Here's also a fun question to
I'm
get to know people. What was your first video game?
Ooh.
Either the first one you owned or the first one you can remember playing.
I remember when I was 6, my parents got me a GameCube. It was like this really special one to like the GameCube and like the Pokemon game they had on it, and the game it came with was a Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, which was kind of an edgy Pokemon where like basically the team would like close the hearts of Pokemon and it made them stronger. So you went around killing the Pokemon from them, but you could then purify their hearts.
Oh yeah, I've seen stuff with that. I've never played that one though.
Neon, what was your first video game and or the first video game you played? Like the first one you owned or played? Which one?
The first one I can remember playing, I think, was on an N64 at my neighbor's house. It was Smash Bros. But the first one I ever owned was a Game Boy Color game. I traded one of my neighbors like 400 Yu-Gi-Oh cards for an old Game Boy Color and like 2 or 3 games, and it was Pokemon Yellow.
Okay. So both of you, your first video games that you played and owned were Nintendo games.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that makes me different. The very first video game I ever played was, again, one of two. It was either Tetris Plus on the PS1 or Frogger on the PS1. However, the first video game I ever owned was SpongeBob Super Sponge on the PS1. And I still have it somewhere. It doesn't work.
Well, of course you do.
I don't. It was my first video game. I'm not going to throw that away.
I ended up pouring like an entire can of root beer on the Game Boy Color games. They didn't work after that.
I'd imagine not.
Apparently it's corrosive to electronics.
The stuff I really love, I will not throw away. So my first video game, my favorite video games, I'll keep even long after they stop working.
Yeah, see, I ditch things as soon as they stop being of use to me.
That's different. I'm looking at literally the oldest thing I own right now. Which again is something I got when I was like 3 or 4. I just have this stuffed dog toy that I've had for years, my entire life. I will not get rid of it.
Oh, nice. Mine right now too. It's if you remember from way back in the day, those Roboraptor things from like Radio Shack. I still have mine. It's on the shelf over there. Give me a very quizzical expression.
Dude, I wanted one of those so bad as a kid.
I didn't. Is it a big one or like a small one?
It's really big. Like it was huge when I was a kid, and even now I still have to use both hands to hold it.
I have a small one of those Raptor toys as well. I think it was a McDonald's toy, actually. Well, I might not have it anymore.
Played
but
music or something, didn't it? Or it could be a speaker.
I think they did have things like that, but I think one for that was more of like basically a giant mech. That was more like a guy, and it would break dance like that.
Me and my brother have. I don't know who has it right now. I might have it, or my brother has it. We had a Robo Sapien toy. You know, the dancing robot.
Yeah.
Yeah. It never worked, which is why we had it, because my dad brought it home because it didn't work and they couldn't get rid of it. So we just have this Robo Sapien toy that has always been broken, but we loved the thing for some reason.
I had something similar. It was some big gray robot. It was supposed to light up and move and do things, right? It was like, I got it when I was like 8. It was the size of like a 4-year-old.
Okay.
And I found it like a couple of days before my birthday. It was in like, I think one of my grandma's bathtubs or something, like in the box. and it never worked. But its head like had a top part that was like glass, like so you could, or not glass, but like plastic. It was clear, and I used to like store things in there.
Do you still have it?
No,
If you
I
had
do
kept,
still have the oldest thing I remember having is the starfish I got the first time I got stung by a bee because I got almost put on life support at that time because it like I stopped breathing.
yeah,
And I still have it in like a little egg crate of keepsakes.
yeah. So you have your things that you'll keep regardless.
Yeah, but very few of them.
Yeah, I have a lot more because more stuff means a lot more to me. Like I still have stuff friends that have given me that I haven't seen in years or whatever.
Well, I still have that Yu-Gi-Oh necklace thing that you gave me, that dog tag.
Well, I didn't give that to you. We both bought that and split it.
Oh yeah, but like you had the blue eyes part or something.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I have that somewhere. I think it's in a box in my closet.
Yeah, I keep stuff my friends give me. That's the thing. If I buy it or get it, I'm like, if it stops working, gone. If it's a gift, it's harder for me to get rid of.
Yeah, like I don't get rid of gifts. Like my first video game, that was a gift. I was 3 when I got it. I think I was 2 or 3. I didn't have money.
Yeah, video games are more of a foreign concept, I think, here.
Yeah. So it all depends. Like most of the stuff I keep are gifts. Anything sentimental, something that means something to me. Gifts and my drawings. I rarely throw away a drawing I have.
I've got railroad spikes from my first time hunting. I didn't hunt, obviously. I've told you.
Yeah.
I went hiking, but we went by a railroad track, and I just grabbed a couple spikes and like big bolts.
How long ago was this? More or less than
Like
5 years.
6, 7 years.
Then you're fine. The statute of limitation on crimes is 5 years.
Oh.
I
Oh god, man.
I don't know sound like a plane crash or anything.
that does not work on murder, I believe, gun crimes, or kidnappings. Does not work on
But
those.
like petty crimes like theft.
Yeah. Pretty much everything else, if you can do it without, if you can survive 5 years, you're fine.
Let's see.
I know that because I've been watching an ex-con Larry Lawton on YouTube. Like,
That's not the ex-jewel thief plays GTA or
yeah,
something, is
that
it?
guy.
Oh god, dude.
Yeah, he has an interesting story.
That video keeps popping up into my feed, and I've never watched it.
I don't know why, but like one day, I think it was like 5 months ago or so. Maybe February, maybe January. I'm not sure. I was just, like, on YouTube, running my own business, and then all of a sudden, like everything in my recommended tab was that guy, and I thought, why? Why do you?
Yeah, like I don't watch Let's Players other than like the occasional Jack video, but I don't even watch him hardly.
He's not a Let's Player.
Oh.
He's a guy that went to jail for 12 years, and yeah, he has the GTA Let's Plays, but most of his content isn't that. I mean, he is playing through GTA now, but a lot of his content is, hey, I'm gonna explain to you the contents of this book that I wrote about my life. So there's that, that's all the really interesting stuff.
I can see that because he's got an interesting point of view for a publisher. Not many of those types of people end up writing, but
and
I mean, it's just the lawyer reacts to Phoenix Wright or doctor reacts to Cells at Work stuff. I don't watch those.
Yeah, that's fine. Like, he also explains how you do stuff in prison, which is all really interesting stuff. So, yeah.
My cousin in prison, he mostly plays Magic the Gathering and D&D.
Yeah.
But he's not one of the cool guys, I don't think, in prison.
Anyone been playing video games recently?
I played Bendy a little while back.
Oh, nice.
It's fun. I definitely dig the art style and the music. I'm wanting to get a vinyl player and get the vinyl of a couple games. It'll probably be one of those. Um, I'm trying to. I watched Jack play it a while back, and I know that you can get the black and white if you can go through the run and gun levels without attacking anything. I've probably played this game for 6 hours and managed to beat 3 of the run and gun levels and 2 of the bosses. It's a keep trying kind of game, one of those where you're gonna fail a lot.
For what game?
Cuphead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I thought
Like
you
I
were
said,
talking
Bendy and the Ink Machine. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that's confused. That was why I was
Bendy and the
confused.
Ink Machine and Cuphead. I get the two, like, I don't know. Like, I'm aware that they're separate in what they are, but they're similar art style kind of thing going on.
They did come out at like the exact same time, and they both deal with old cartoons being satanic.
As the main theme, yeah.
When Cuphead came
And,
out,
like, deals with the devil, too.
when Cuphead came out, I looked at that game and went, "This is not for me."
Well, I'm wanting to get good at those kind of games. I don't play a lot of games. I want to get good as a gamer. Because
that's
some of
fine.
my friends do that.
And
I'm thinking if I play like Dark Souls, Hollow Knight, Cuphead, and stuff like that and get good at them, I'll get better at them.
I will say Cuphead is not a game for me because I'm terrible at 2D platformers. That is why that is not a game for me. Dark Souls is also not a game for me because that game is boring. The only challenge is the bosses. Everything else is just in the way.
Well, it's supposed to be. It's one of those that well, not boring, but it's supposed to be a slower paced, harder. Okay, this is my 14th time fighting this boss.
Yeah, if it was that, if it was like, hey, just go boss to boss to boss, it would be better. But so much of that game is killing the same enemies, the same easy enemies, over and over and over again.
Well, I've gotten about an hour into Dark Souls. I get that part, but
I'm
not somebody who can focus on stuff like that very long. But like something in the background, I want to try it. I want to try to get good at games.
The only time one of the non-bosses killed me in Dark Souls is I wasn't paying attention, got too close to the ledge, and got hit off. One time. And that's, if it wasn't in a boss fight, I did not die.
Another one is Sekiro. I tried Sekiro. I don't know how long the game is, but I got quite a few hours in. I got stuck at an enemy who spews poison at you in a flashback or something.
Yeah. Like,
that would have been like the long-armed giraffe.
Long-armed giraffe.
That was like a guy on all fours with like really long forearms with blades on him.
No, I think this dude has like a heavy hitting weapon. He's like a sumo that spews poison.
Oh yeah, that'd be Juzo the Drunkard then.
Yeah, that's
okay. Yeah, he's gone.
Huh?
Is that?
But I was watching the wait for him, and you were talking, and then it just dropped to nothing.
Oh, I don't know. My internet's bad. But yeah, like those harder games, and I find them especially hard. Like there's a lot of them I'll watch, and it's like, oh man, this game's rough, and they'll die like 4 times, and I'm like, I've died 80 times.
Yeah.
But they're like, they play games for a living, so.
Yeah. There are some games where I definitely like a challenge, but I don't enjoy the pounding your head against a wall for 6 weeks straight, and then maybe you'll make a tiny bit of progress. Like I do not enjoy that. It's one of the reasons why I still haven't finished the Kingdom Hearts DLC, because the last like 2 bosses I have fought have just been annoying difficulty spikes.
Well, there's a difference in making a game and catering it to be like, super ultra challenging, like, oh, only the elite gamers can play this, and then making a game where you're like, I think, I'm not going to make it especially easy on purpose.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I'm annoyed with the DLC because playing through I played through Proud Mode, and it was easy for Kingdom Hearts 3. Proud Mode was super, super easy. Critical Mode, that was a challenge. Critical Mode was not easy. It was very hard because I was severely underleveled through a good portion of that game. And that was fine because I could level up, I could get stronger, and it did rely more on skill. And then the DLC comes out, and it's just like, if you haven't been playing skillfully the entire game, go away. It's not for you. Which is frustrating and annoying because the first time through, I'm not sitting here going, I want to be the best. I play through the story.
Very best.
I want the story first, and then I want the challenge. That's kind of why I play Kingdom Hearts. Like, to be fair, the story is stupid. The story's insane. And I will continue.
Several rants.
The amount of the main villain is incompetent. He really is. His plan to get the Keyblade entails him failing to, like, because there's only one way to get the Keyblade. So his plan originally is to fail, like, because he knows and both doesn't know that his first plan is going to fail. Like, when you look at everything like, oh, hey, the events of Birth by Sleep, his plan is to fail. Like, he knows he's going to lose, yet he's doing it anyway, so that the events of Kingdom Hearts 1 can happen, so that he can fail, so that the events of Kingdom Hearts 2 can happen, so that he can fail, so that the events of Kingdom Hearts 3 can happen, where he fails again.
You forgot the 15 games in between 2 and 3.
The Xehanort's plan is he's going to lose to a 15-year-old kid 3 times. That's his plan. He loses to a 15-year-old kid, like, 3 times, and then he wins.
Right?
Yeah, like it, and then you go, well, we need 13 lights and 13 darknesses. Okay, why don't you just make 13 darknesses and then get 7 lights? Well, it has to be specifically pure lights and darknesses. Well, you can use yourself 13 times. Why can't you get 7 decent lights and then clone yourself 13 times? That's kind of what you do already.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, does it work if it's the same person every time?
The problem is, it's treated that they have to be Keyblade users, and then they aren't, because they don't have to be. So the plan is just nonsensical and just all over the place. And then they decide, hey, let's add time travel. And then add all these stupid rules to time travel. I'm like, it's time travel. It's like magic. Just let that be the explanation on how time travel works. Magic. It's so much better than the nonsensical way they decided to explain it. The story is... I love the story. It's a lot of fun when you don't think about it, but when you think about it, it's incredibly stupid.
Well, I mean, I don't think... And I don't want to... It sounds worse than it is. You don't play Kingdom Hearts for the story, for, like, the in-depth, detailed story. It's more of a character journey kind of thing.
Yeah, I care more about the main characters than I do about anything else that's happening.
There are several shows like that where it's like the story itself is pretty dumb, but it's like you're there to see how the characters grow and interact and all that. Yeah,
like I will say, if you have good characters, you can make any story good.
Mm-hmm.
Like there. On top of that, I will also say you can make any story work as long as you handle it with the right amount of tact. Like, that's something that I will say.
Definitely.
And,
right.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, I think I heard somewhere from a friend that apparently the guy who made Kingdom Hearts, I forget his name, apparently originally the story was going to be like really plain and simple, and they actually went to him and said, hey, make this more in-depth or complicated or something like that. I don't know.
Oh, he did. He definitely listened. If that's what happened.
Yeah, I think so, at least. I may be spreading rumors, but that's what I heard, at least.
I mean, I
The
during
first game seemed like it was pretty simple.
the first game is just the first game story is Sora, Riku, and Kairi want to get off the island to go see other worlds. Then some bad things happen. They get
They
separated,
accidentally get off the island.
and then you have to find Sora's friends. You have to find Riku and Kairi, and then you meet Donald and Goofy, and you have to find the king and stop the darkness. That is the story. Like, defeat the dragon, save the princess. That's Kingdom Hearts 1.
Yeah, he went on the hero's journey.
Kingdom Hearts 2 is, again, it's a little more complicated, but it's still pretty much the same thing. Same with Chain of Memories. 358 is more of a character-driven story. And then you have Recoded, which is kind of just pointless to the story overall. Like
Chain of Memories seemed fairly pointless.
Yeah. Then you get to 3D and Birth by Sleep. Those are the games where it starts getting complicated. Because Birth by Sleep now introduces Ventus, Terra, and Aqua and tries to retroactively re-explain what happened during Kingdom Hearts 1, which is a mistake. Pretty much when they decided to introduce the Keyblade as a thing, that was when it started getting off the rails. But it wasn't until they introduced time travels that they just jumped the shark.
Well, any story you introduce time travel, it's gonna mess with it some.
Not really. Kingdom Hearts 2 did it just fine.
Then there's Endgame that I thought handled it pretty well.
No, it's just it complicates. It doesn't make it bad. It complicates.
A little bit. I mean, Kingdom Hearts
Like,
2
you can
just
do
had
time travel well.
Yeah. Kingdom Hearts 2 had the Timeless River. And what that was they went back in time, stopped Pete from doing something evil, and they went back into into present time, and everything was okay.
Mm-hmm.
And in Kingdom Hearts 3, Nomura said, hey, Merlin, he cheated at time travel, that's why he could do that. Oh, you mean you don't have to send your heart through time and have to find a body where you aren't allowed to speak to yourself and change the past events or anything, despite the fact that speaking to yourself would change past events? Because inevitably there's a timeline where you don't speak to yourself.
Well, what you're saying right now just is defeated in the previous time.
Yeah.
With Time River, they changed events. You just said you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, it stated you cannot change the events of the past, yet we have seen, like, in the explanation, in order for it to work, you have to change the events of the past. It's not
sort of like how Harry Potter treated it the first time, because in the books, at least, it was, because I haven't seen the movies. If you go back in time to change something, you already went back in time and changed something. So the timeline you lived the first time is the timeline that ends up happening.
Yeah.
I like that.
It worked really well in the books. In the movie, I thought they kind of dropped the ball a little on it, and the cat came out of nowhere. But
it
was done very well.
They don't really
And then
explain
people
it in the
were
movies.
complaining about time travel, so she's like, okay, no more time travel, and then destroyed all the time travel devices.
Like, in the movie, wasn't it just the time turner? Like, the one item?
Well, in the books, I mean, it's the time turner, but there are like 5 billion of them.
Yeah. Like, it has been a long time since I've seen the movies, but I believe there was only ever one time turner device in the movies. Like, at least that we know of. There might have been more, but I only ever saw one.
The movies, yeah. In the books, I remember there was like a scene where there was like a whole shelf of them. They knocked a Death Eater
The Ministry of Magic.
And the Ministry of Magic, and then knocked a Death Eater into one of them, and it broke one of them, and left him with like a grown-ass man's body, but a baby's head.
Yeah, and he what happened is they threw him essentially with a spell into all of them. So like he knocked down a shelf that knocked down other shelves. And just getting caught in that gave him, like, differently aged body parts.
When were the time turners introduced in the books?
I'm sure it's the same time in the movies. It's whenever Buckbeak's about to get killed.
And
Okay. So that's
it was about when Sirius was going to be executed, and
Yeah,
Voldemort's just
so the third one, Prisoner of Azkaban. Okay. I only read Chamber of Secrets, so if they were introduced before that, then I somehow
It's like-
missed it.
The case, once you introduce time travel, becomes, well, if you have time travel and you can do it essentially consequence-free, why hasn't anyone used it already to go back in time and stop big evil events?
Yeah.
And the case for that in Harry Potter was like, why didn't people go back and like unalive Voldemort as a baby or just change his past so that this stuff didn't happen? But the explanation in Harry Potter, it sort of fits for itself because you're in the timeline where that didn't happen. Obviously, someone tried and it didn't work out because whatever eventuality is going to come from using the time turner is the original eventuality.
Yeah. Pretty much multi-universe theory, and you're in the one that you're in. Deal with it.
Yeah, sort of. It's like whatever you do now isn't going to change anything if you go back in time. But it's like then you could also make that case for Kingdom Hearts though, is if you can go back in time and change events, why didn't they go back in time and like undo the bad guy before he got big and powerful?
Because he's the only one that knows how to go back in time properly. Except
You
for
said
Roxas.
the main cast goes back in time to stop Pete. Like, why couldn't they go back in time a little further?
I don't know, Sora doesn't have time magic except for the fact in Kingdom Hearts 1 he has Stop, which stops time. It's like,
Yeah, see, that's another thing. When game mechanics get in the way of storytelling, like fly in the face of the story, I don't like when stuff like that happens.
like in Kingdom Hearts 3, we go to Rapunzel and I think Flynn is... I haven't seen Tangled. We go to that world.
Flynn Rider.
Yeah, he gets stabbed and Sora's just standing there staring at this man bleeding out. I'm like, you have Curaga. Or Cure. You at least have Cure. You have potions. I know I have an elixir. Why not just heal him? You can save his
and
life.
Phoenix down in Final Fantasy.
Yeah, Final Fantasy VII, the Phoenix Down is treated more like, at least in the new one, it's treated more like smelling salts. Like, they're unconscious. So, if they die, you can't really bring them back.
Mm.
But even in the original one, you know, you even have a Phoenix that you can summon, which resurrects all your fallen party members.
Yep.
So.
No, but Sora can just cure in Kingdom Hearts and heal.
Yeah. As long as they aren't dead, you can heal them.
No, he just has to stand there and watch poor Eugene Fitzherbert just, always love you. Hey, Sarah, help! No, I don't think I will.
Then there's also a bunch of other stuff where, like in Arendelle, there's dialogue you can hear from Sora where he says, Donald, give me a jacket. Magic me up a jacket. And Donald goes, that's not how it works. So he can create entirely new outfits for Sora out of magic. And in Kingdom Hearts 2, when the three fairies give Sora his Kingdom Hearts 2 outfit out of magic, Donald can't make Sora a magical coat that keeps him warm, despite the fact he can turn him into a mermaid and a lion. Like, these are things that Donald has been stated to do in canon, and he can't give Sora a jacket. He created Sora's Halloween Town costume. In Final Mix, Sora gets a Santa coat. And you can't give him that coat again? Game mechanics, you gotta be a little bit better on that.
Yeah, no, I some games actually make, like, one thing I do like from Dark Souls is that, like, the game mechanics directly relate to the story. It sort of helps tell the story.
Yeah.
And you see this in a couple games. I know in, like, in games where you can time travel and stuff, like, as a mechanic, that affects, like, your time travel powers actually affect the story.
Yeah. Chrono Trigger had some moments where, in order to get past some obstacles, you had to travel through time. Because the world would change in between the times you would travel.
Oh.
Which, that was a that's a good game. I should go back and finish that one.
Good things.
Yeah.
I didn't like in Sekiro where the game mechanics affected the story. Because, like, every time I died, it was making this old dude sicker and sicker. And I'm like, I'm going to keep dying, but now I feel bad.
Good, you should.
And it started affecting other people, too. Like, the shop sales dude, like, he got sick when I kept dying. And I'm like, it's not my fault.
Did they close the shop?
I don't know. I don't know if he ever got sick enough, but it might have made it harder for me to get stuff, I think.
I hope it just...
The issue is that, like, it goes off some quest events, because sometimes they'll be like, to talk to this guy and tell him about this thing, so he'll go to this other place and I can talk to him there. But he won't do that if he's sick. He'll just be like, that's nice.
Yeah, see, and it's like, it punishes me for dying, but dying is a part of the story. Because you're playing as a guy who can resurrect. I get, like, his death or something spreads, or, like, his life energy has to come from somewhere.
So, speaking of punishments for the story, Guiltare, do you really want me and Neon playing as this special weapons with souls controlling one person in a D&D campaign?
Yeah, honestly, I feel like it would be a fun time. For those who don't know, I really like D&D. I'm the DM of our little group. For those of you in the audience, I'll explain a little bit. But recently I got a few homebrew books. One of which had a few classes that were interesting. Basically, they're classes based around where you can be magic item. Be like a magic sword, or you can be a magic hat, or a gun. There's a class all about being like a gun that is also a warlock. And basically the idea is that, like, you were trapped as this and you try to travel around with someone and try and regain some sense of autonomy. The way they do this is, like, there's the cleric, which basically, you can kind of astral project yourself out from the weapon, but you have to stay within 5 feet of the guy holding the weapon. So you're basically a stand. There's a sorcerer, which eventually gets to be like soul eater levels of, can just turn into a normal person, and then change into your weapon form at will. And then there's the warlock, which basically your soul was cast into a gun. And you can eventually get to the point where you can control the bodies of those you've killed, like that.
You sent us a message saying this would be interesting. Would you guys be up to this? And the first thing I went to is, well, I'm going to be a sword that's going to be constantly whispering into the guys' ears to kill everyone, so I can absorb their souls and become more powerful.
So you want to play as, like, the stereotype, just the generic cursed sword.
You just want to be dragging off soul eater.
Just absolutely everything. Talking to a shopkeep, buying some bread, kill them. Rip their soul from their body and feed me.
What do you want?
Do it.
Right? Souls of the unclean. A bagel. Now!
Just... I got this sword, it's now attached to me and I can't get rid of it. It keeps me up at night, telling me to reap the souls of the living. I haven't slept in 6 weeks. I think it's starting to win. Am I next?
Yeah, like day 42 of Cursed Sword. I woke up this morning covered in blood. Can't find my, daughter's cat anywhere. Day 43, I can't find my daughter anywhere. Just like progressively worse.
I just really like the idea of, like, being magic sword, magic gun, magic hat, and Dave. And then just Dave, this very sad, tired man, hasn't slept in 5 years, sitting around listening to all the voices in his head that aren't his own, and just.
Oh god.
I just go to how opposite all of us play D&D, and you just get some. I go to also Steve Hofstadter's one of his jokes in Secret Optimist. Just what's going through their head. I like peanut butter. Do you swim? What's going on here? Just D&D would be smash things, steal their souls. Ooh, is that gold? What's over here? It would be one person losing their grip on reality. That would be the campaign.
I would love that. Yeah, because like you'd have to be the NPC Guiltare. So like it would be like the 4 or 5 of us, give or take. And whispering into your ear, trying to like share control of this poor NPC.
And the thing is, me and Guiltare already constantly fight over things because it's fun, and he's wanting us to do that more.
No, but imagine it's like Alien X or something. It's like right, Alien X if you had like 4 or 5 voices.
Like, I think we gave Guiltare Stockholm syndrome. Like he wants the misery we bring now.
I like it when you guys are creative. I like it when you guys do things that like challenge me and make me grow as a DM. But it's cool. It's fun. It's creative. And I don't know.
Yeah, so like, I feel like you're already starting to get voices in your head, man. This might not be a good idea.
I mean, worst problem to have for a writer. But honestly, if it's just... Honestly, we do have 4 people, so it could just be, like... It's mainly autonomous, where, like, if you're a weapon, you can still have, like, a turn and stuff, so you can still do stuff. But,
no.
I don't know, it'd be interesting to, like... Either if it's 4 of you, or if it's 3 of you, and I'm just the husk that you guys control, you fight over what to do.
Now it's like we spent 3 hours today, playing D&D. I feel like we got a lot done. Yep, we didn't. It was just 3 hours of us trying to open a jar.
Now I will say, I am 100% in with having like a group of 4 people and 2 of them pairing off, one the weapon and one the person, and just seeing what happens.
Dude, that would be interesting.
Or maybe me and Neon team up. One of us will be the person, the other one will be the weapon, and then you'll have the other 2. So we're both acting as one while you have, say, Tristan and Voidstorm playing their own characters.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I am full on into that. I will 100% anytime.
Yeah, either way, it would work. Yeah, you could do like a Weapon and Meister, or I would do the Alien X shared control of a husk.
Oh, yeah.
Either way sounds interesting.
Yeah, like... And the idea I had for that one would be basically it would be like a treasure hunter who's like, aha, I found treasures, and then he's finding sentient ones. And he's like, well, I can't sell this one. That'd be like slavery. Work for me now. Fine. Eventually just get like a little family of trinkets. If
it's one guy, maybe we could share control of limbs, right? So like, I would have the right arm, and Marcus would have the left arm. Charlton would have the right foot, and Tristan could have the left foot.
I'll form the head.
Yeah, and then you just like your body's moving without your volition.
I also like the idea of having a character dynamic of like Rubelax and Percival from Walkthrough, like that kind of dynamic, which is always fun.
No, you could do your guy like the Omnitrix though, right? So it's like you're a sword, right? And your power is like you set yourself on fire and deal extra damage sometimes. And he goes and like yells to try to do that while he attacks, and then you're just like, or no, this time I'll spray water. Just troll the person if you ever, get in an argument.
Yeah. What happens when we inevitably get the guy killed? Does the person who killed him take the weapons and now we're following their story?
We were Dave the Barbarian, now we're Dave from accounting.
Well, we were on the Power of Good, and the big bad evil person killed him, and now we're part of a lich army.
It's like the lich putting all the items while they're arguing. He's like, this wasn't worth it. Eventually, the Lich gets killed, it goes into a phylactery, becomes another magical item, is stuck with you guys forever.
I like
Lord.
I like the idea of having a Lich be one of the weapons, only their ring. Once you put the ring on, you can't take it off, and now you're just partnered with a Lich until you die. It's got all these magical powers, but you can never get rid of this person always in your ear.
Right. Me of like one magical item. I forget where it was from. Basically, it was like this ring was supposed to like signify that you were like the heir of the dark powers. If you put it on, the only way to take it off was to get off from the base of the finger. So you had to cut the finger off to take it off. And that was sort of like the succession story of it. People would kill them, cut off their finger, like that.
Huh.
I can see that being a neat one.
On the bright side, if they survive the killing and lose their finger, they can at least become an assassin.
Ah, yeah. Exactly.
What if it's like each person who did that got like cursed into the object though? So it's like by the time you're the 30th guy to put it on, you've got 30 voices in your head now.
Oh no. We are Legion. Oh, we are many.
Oh god, Ghost Rider just penance stares the dude.
Ah.
And then there's just one left just going...
He can beat the Ghost Rider because he can't do his main attack on him. So why would you, while he's still alive, like make yourself weaker to him? Like that was just poor planning skills.
Yeah.
His name was Darkheart.
Okay, but like, yeah, actually, no, that explains all of that. I'm sorry, there's a Care Bear villain with the same name.
Yep.
I love the Care Bears growing up.
I've never seen it.
Dude, it was like so wholesome as a kid, except sometimes it wasn't.
Well, I like you looking at older stuff and just going, what was this? Like, what happened here? This was a show about friendship. Now they're killing people. What's going on?
There was like this really dark one as a kid. There was like circus children or something like got enslaved to the ringmaster. It was weird.
Friendship is power. This is for my friends, you son of a...
Yeah, it's like Grouchy Bear, just, like slitting throats.
What?
By the way, thanks to Nomura, I can no longer watch anything that's about friendship and light without immediately going to Kingdom Hearts. It's impossible. You really got Guiltare there. He really found that funny.
It's better if you've watched the Care Bears.
No, the closest I've ever been to that series is watching the reviews the Nostalgia Critic did years ago.
I forgot he reviewed Care Bears.
4 movies. Like 1, 2, Nutcracker, and something else.
That one with the circus and the Care Bears, though, and like all that. It seems similar. There was like a dinosaur movie with like circus children or something, wasn't there?
I have absolutely no idea.
Like Dino City or something?
Never watched it.
Oh. Okay,
looking back, these two movies seem pretty similar.
Well, Guiltare, have you returned to us now?
I think so. I mean, you almost killed me, you son of a bitch, but, it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. It's not fine.
Not fine.
Oh, speaking of, every computer that has the Berea College image on it, one of my coworkers worked on the image and put in the "This is fine" meme. There's a series of key commands you can enter that'll pull it up on any Berea College laptop.
Really?
Yeah.
Neat.
Mm-hmm. So,
don't know what that's means, but whatever.
It's the "this is fine" meme with the dog in the burning building.
Ah.
One meme I loved was the Shaggy meme. It's one of the first that I was able to get into. Like Shaggy, like Ultra Instinct. And I really wanted there to be a Dragon Ball Z game with like a little hint at that or something, like just Goku with a like green gi and red pants or something. Just a little nod. Just because that got so big, you know, the creators of Dragon Ball, like someone there had seen and heard of that.
Yeah, maybe like on taunting Goku, like, well, and then why don't you go Super Saiyan 3? I don't know. That form makes me look really shaggy.
Or just Goku, like, you know, I'm only using 1% of my power or something. Just some kind of nod, I feel like. It earned that much. It got that big.
You know, just mocking Frieza. Look at me, I'm using 1% of my power. Screw you, you filthy monkey.
Just look at Frieza, you know, I'll kill you in like 3 minutes. You know, guess however long that is.
Is anyone excited for the PS5? Because I am.
Yeah, it looks neat.
I don't think I'll get the PS5. It looks good, but there aren't any exclusives that I'm that excited for.
I was sold the second I saw Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah.
That's all it took.
Horizon Zero Dawn. Yeah, there's a ton of good games coming out on it.
I really enjoyed Spider-Man PS4, so...
Sony exclusive.
Horizon Zero Dawn was Sony exclusive for a long time.
Yeah, but it's like you can play it on other stuff now.
I think only the PC, and that's it.
That's what I have.
Yeah, but even then, that took years for that to happen, like 2 or 3 years.
There's Bloodborne that has like never been off the PS4.
Yeah, so there's definitely exclusives that will be good, and that's there will be more exclusives.
Being said, fingers crossed for Bloodborne 2. I love that game.
I do hate the exclusivity of titles, right?
I hate it to a point. There are definitely those that I believe, yes, if the company itself made the game, like all Nintendo's exclusives that Nintendo makes, like fine, that's fair, keep them. But if it is something like Spider-Man PS4, that was made by Insomniac. Yes, Sony owns them now, but that can be on other platforms. I don't care.
Well, it's like because of Sony's deal with stuff, like they've always had Spider-Man in their pocket.
Yeah, but Spider-Man's been on other games. Like it's been on the DS. It's been on, I believe, GameCube. It's been on Xbox.
On the Game Boy Advance, man. Like, yeah. I mean, it has been on other stuff. It just, I don't know, title exclusivity, and it's like I'm someone who plays VR, right? Like I have VR headsets, and that really hurts VR as a newer thing.
Yeah.
Because it's like there already aren't that many games, and then it's like, and when you start putting the games that there are into little camps, and it's like, oh, you have to have this headset for this experience, even though the same specs or better are out there on others.
Yeah. Like, that's stupid.
No, I mean, it goes back to your same argument of, like, if a company made the headset and made the game, they should have the right to put it on only their thing. But then also, it hurts that game. It hurts that company because they're getting less sales than they could be.
Well, not entirely, because they'll still make money regardless. They're the ones selling the game.
It's like what you have to do is, plus or minus, though, is like, is some people that are going to go to the trouble of buying a console specifically for 1, 2, 3 games, you know, are those sales worth more to you than the people who would buy the game on other formats? It's like you'll sell extra consoles because of this, but do you sell enough extra consoles to outweigh the extra copies of the games you'd sell if it was out on multiple systems?
Yeah, fair enough. Like, I could see window exclusivity a little bit more, but I do understand why people would want to keep their stuff on their platform, on their console. Like, when it comes to VR, it's different because most VR consoles are PC. It's just a piece of hardware you plug into a PC. Like making it exclusive to your headset is not as smart.
Well, yeah, because Oculus Go has its own thing, and then you can't get all the Oculus games. But that's a different issue. But it's like Vive and certain like ones that are standalone headsets only play games from their company or have specific games. And PSVR, there are a couple PSVR games that are only PSVR.
Yeah, like I would say even for like consoles, there is more of an argument than for, say, a VR system, which has almost exactly the same controls, or at least should have fairly similar controls throughout all of them. But when you get down to consoles, you have the Nintendo consoles, the Joy-Cons, which are much more similar now to the other consoles than they were with, say, the Wii, or, say,
the N64.
Yeah, PlayStation has the touchpad that Xbox doesn't. Like, there are the differences that would warrant some games to be just exclusive to a console, because you would have to cheapen the experience to swap them, to put them onto another console.
Well, it's like Undertale was made for the PC, and that experience is best experienced on the PC. But they did release it for like the PlayStation and Xbox.
Yeah, well, I don't really count indie games as exclusive to anything. Because, most...
Well, the idea is that it wasn't, and it's like, most of the time they're not.
Yeah. Like, most indie games, the creator's not going to sit there and go, oh, I want this on... I want to make as much money as possible. Most indie creators make a game because they want to make a game. And if it gets popular, they want as many people to play as possible. So exclusivity on most indie games is worthless to them.
Well, one of the big VR games that bugs me though is Minecraft VR, right? Minecraft VR is only out on one or two headsets. It's the Vive, I think, is maybe the Vive headsets. And the only reason it's not is because Mojang, I think, is not wanting to sell the rights to other companies. Like, it's not a hardware or a spec issue, and there are countless, like, thousands of people searching online trying to figure out a way to put, like, Minecraft VR on their headset because it can run it.
Yeah.
And it's harder than it has to be. Like, you have to sort of backdoor in and, like, know what you're doing a bit.
Yeah.
Like, and you can't do it legally. And so that's hurting the company, but Mojang won't sell the rights to do it to other companies.
There are definitely problems both ways.
No, and you can make a case for each.
Yeah. Like, I do understand why people would want to keep something exclusive for, like, bigger companies. Like Nintendo wanting to keep Legend of Zelda or Mario exclusive. Because if you keep your biggest thing exclusive, yes, you are more likely to sell that console. And then, hey, if you have a bunch of games on this console that are on another console, but they don't have that one, well, are they going to go buy a PlayStation to play games that you can play on the Switch? Probably not. If you already have the Switch. For some people, maybe.
But it's like, and the same thing goes for all the, like, streaming platforms, right? It's like Disney Plus really bugged me because that pulled all the Disney stuff off of Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon.
Yeah.
And it's like Disney as a company should have the rights to lease their products and titles as they want. Yeah. But it hurts us as consumers, and then it does hurt the other streaming platforms, so I'm sure. But it also, Disney is losing some money doing that, in that not everybody is going to get Disney Plus, and whenever you watch a Disney movie on Netflix or Hulu, Disney gets a bit of that money back for that title.
I'll say my views on exclusivity change entirely when it comes down to streaming platforms. Because that is not I bought a console. A console is a one-time purchase. You aren't paying for that console every single month unless if you're paying monthly for online. Streaming platforms, entirely different because you have to pay monthly. Like I have Netflix because that is something, there were a bunch of things on Netflix that I wanted to watch. So I got Netflix. I want to watch some stuff on Disney Plus, but I'm not going to go out and pay another $8, I think is the price for just Disney Plus, $13 for everything. I was looking at it yesterday. But I'm not going to pay that money for all of that.
Levels of Disney Plus.
Yeah, because they'll add other streaming platforms that they have ownership over to the package.
Disney keeps buying out the world.
Yeah, like I'm not going to pay $12 for that.
They bought something like this past month, something kind of big.
They recently bought the rights to air Digimon. I know that, and they have been talking about making a live action one, which I'm all for. I would love a live action Digimon.
Seems like one of the few ones we could do pretty well. Yeah,
because it's such an easy thing. So you have live action actors and then CG for the Digimon. They're data, so it works so well. Like, who cares?
And plus,
they're not supposed to look like actual velociraptors and birds.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to. You don't have to do that. Like, just do it the same way Detective Pikachu did it, and you'll be fine.
I was gonna say, like all the models for the Pokemon and Detective Pikachu and stuff, like something they could do pretty easily. That seems like it would make sense if they looked like. A lot of CG stuff, it tends to look a little off, but if it's like in a digital world, that would make sense.
So they're literally computer generated.
And I know if they make a live action movie, they'll probably have Agumon be the main character. I would love to see Guilmon in that movie, just because I'm biased.
Yeah, I'm hyped for the One Piece live action series. Actually,
they're making a live action One Piece.
Yeah, dude, they've been working on it.
Where?
What do you mean where?
Which platform?
I think Netflix.
So probably not going to be good because they have not had a good track record with their live action
I trust
anime
Netflix
movies.
way more than almost anything else.
All I want is for them to include the rap. I'll be happy.
Oh God, please.
Go, dreaming. Don't give it up.
Their budget per episode is pretty high. So and the creator is actually working with Netflix.
So we'll probably end up good if they're working on it.
Yeah, it's like how the Avatar, right? Like when I heard live action Avatar, I'm like, man, that's gonna suck. And then I heard original creators are actually like over it completely. All of the original guys, and that they're getting to cast whoever they want and almost limitless budget.
They better have Dante Bosco as Zuko.
Excited.
Like, I cannot imagine Zuko with a different voice than Dante Bosco's.
Like, it'll be a little weird with the voices, but like, I'm excited for those two shows.
Yeah. Remember, tried to watch a little bit of Korra. I started looking at like some scenes. And I remember I saw one part where like it was Zuko's grandson, Earl Iroh, who had Zuko's voice, and I thought, all right, that was cute. That was nice.
Despite the fact that Zuko's still alive, and Iroh is also in it.
Iroh later in the show.
Is that?
Korra has problems. Maybe one day I'll watch it, but probably not.
Yeah,
I tried to watch it 3 seasons. It was hard.
Tried to watch it, but I kind of lost interest with like the love triangle that they were trying to push.
Oh, you mean the first 5 episodes?
Which is entirely pointless because at the very last moment of the show, they say Korra's bisexual at least.
Yeah, like at the very, very last 3 minutes of the last episode of the series, they just have her walk away with her, and they're together apparently.
Yeah.
Korra walks away with Asami.
I'm all for. It is Pride Month. Don't get the wrong idea, audience. We're all LGBT supportive here.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely fine with. I understand that Korra kind of had to do that. They were the first ones to do that. I am definitely much happier that more shows are just going. Yeah, they're gay. Deal with it.
It works. It's done better in a lot of other series. It's not done well in Korra, I don't think. But it was earlier than the rest.
Yeah, I'm fine with Korra doing it, but I'm not fine with every other show that's like, are they gay? Not wanting, and the last second, they're gay. Bye. I'm not. That's annoying to me.
Yeah,
Like,
it's definitely done better in other stuff. I like how the Dragon Prince treats it, and I think at least some of the same writers.
if anime does it, it's entirely different because Japan doesn't care.
Well,
If-
no, Dragon Prince. It's not anime.
It's not. I've
No,
not seen Dragon Prince, so
It's Netflix. It's a Netflix original done by a lot of the creators from the original Avatar team.
yeah. But Netflix original doesn't mean too much with original because isn't Nanatsu no Taizu also labeled a Netflix original?
Okay, yeah, no, they do that when they dub anime and sub them and stuff.
Yeah,
but, like,
that's
it's
why.
actually made by Netflix.
Yeah. So.
It's like there's a couple shows made by Netflix that I've enjoyed now, so I'm starting to give Netflix a little bit of like I trust them a little bit now.
Yeah.
If they say they're rebooting something, I'm happier than when I hear that Nick is rebooting something or Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
Now again, Danny Phantom reboot win though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would still love a Danny Phantom reboot.
They've been like, dude, everybody everywhere that watched the original wants a reboot.
As long as Butch Hartman has nothing to do with it, I want a Danny Phantom
Oh god,
reboot.
I hear he was poisonous to the original.
Yeah.
Like, it was the guy he was working with, and I don't even remember the guy's name. But the guy he was working with on it had all of the good ideas in the show, and all of the episodes that I kind of don't like or parts that I don't like were from Butch Hartman. And I'm just like,
I haven't heard that.
I mean, I don't really care what Butch Hartman said or did on the show. It's just like, he is such a toxic person now that just, I want nothing
no,
to do with
apparently
him.
he's always been. He just kept getting paired up with people who did good enough work that it outweighed his bad.
Yeah, like, he's definitely got some talent. He's a good artist. He comes up with good ideas. It's just
artist. I don't think he can write a good story.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's an interesting one though. Good art made by bad people. Does the art still deserve a chance?
Well,
I would say yes, but that is also because I good things can be made by bad people. Bad things can be made by good people. But if you don't give anything a chance, you are just closing off an entire. You're pretty much just saying, I don't care what happens. No.
It's like Bill Cosby and the Cosby Show. It's like a lot of people are now like hating on it.
And that's fine. Like I can understand not wanting to have anything to do with that, but you do also still have to understand that bad people can do good things.
Yeah, and it's like a Rurouni Kenshin, right? Like that's supposed to be a really good anime and manga. But like its creator is apparently like really racist or sexist or something.
The creator is a pedophile.
Oh yeah, that one.
Expensive.
One of those.
Yeah, like used some of the money he got from writing the series to just child pornography.
Oh, that's bad.
Which people would say, okay, so I don't want to support that. Don't support the series. But one, it's still recognized as good art.
Yeah,
like dude, anime and manga, and other people worked on the series. Do they, in their contribution, not deserve to get any type of feedback or gain from it?
And that's the problem you have there. Like a much simpler way, I guess, to put it would be like, take a look at Nobel Peace Prize. That was created by the same guy who made Dynamite. Like he was known as the Merchant of Death, yet his name is more synonymous with something meant for good. So was he a good person or a bad person? That's really up to everyone else to come up with.
Yeah, I kind of see it as it's even if bad person made it, once you create something and put it out in the world, then takes on a life of its own. Like Harry Potter is like a symbol of like peace and taking down the government and trying to do good things and stuff like that. But the creator of Harry Potter, I've heard recent news about her.
Oh yeah, that's
I haven't actually.
Everyone in the movie pretty much after she. I don't remember exactly what she said because I kind of skimmed over it, but she pretty much everyone immediately after she released this super long talk about LGBT stuff, everyone just kind of came out and said
the characters are black and bisexual bisexual and all that.
Uh,
I've seen that, but like I thought there was something like that J.K. Rowling did bad. You were talking about,
Yeah, she kind of
hates trans people.
huh?
Hates trans people.
Oh, okay.
yeah. And every single person that works on the movie, or at least all the big actors, came out in support of trans people. Like that. That's all I saw. I didn't look into it too much.
Yeah.
And even then, I
like one post, I was like trying to defend it. Like, I'm sorry if I said anything wrong. Believe me, if trans people were being persecuted for being trans, I would be marching to help them. And one of the replies was from the wonderful Aaron Hansen of Game Grumps fame, who just replied with "if?" ?
Nice. I bet that got a lot of love.
Yeah.
yeah. Again.
I mean, it's older generations have their beliefs and stuff, and again, I'm not. I support people living their best life. However, you need to do that, as long as it's not directly hurting someone else.
Yeah, like.
Also, like the whole cancel culture thing. I don't super agree with destroying someone's entire life because they have a different opinion from you.
Yeah, cancel culture is something I don't enjoy either. I don't like putting up with it.
They're hating on toxicity in a toxic way.
Yeah, well, the problem with cancel culture is less that they're going after someone who did something bad, and more that they hear someone might have done something bad and then go, well, he's a horrible person, ruin his life, and then they find out, oh, they didn't actually do that, and then they're like, we were on their side the entire time.
Like, Johnny Depp. I feel so bad for him because he's like an actual sweetheart, and he like had his name dragged for the mud for like years because his wife.
I've seen like Johnny Depp at like he goes to more children's hospitals and stuff than almost any other.
Yeah.
But I think you were relating this, Marcus, to what happened with the RT VA, right?
Oh yeah, like I still don't know entirely what happened with Crow's old voice actor. Because, I saw something recently that made me go, sitting there and saying they fired Vic just on the news is still kind of wrong. To sit there and go, well, they didn't even look into it. I don't know what happened there. Like, I heard something. I don't know what they did behind the scenes, and I probably won't ever know. Crow's original voice actor got fired after some accusations. I'm not going to go into them. But I don't even know I don't know if Bruce Heath looked into it. I would assume they did, but I have no idea.
Lack of evidence is not like evidence to the contrary of.
Yeah,
they didn't release anything saying we looked extensively into it, but that doesn't mean they didn't.
But I do also understand getting rid of that person because you go, oh, well, you don't want someone that is doing that in that position. There is that idea
that goes back to the original argument of good art made by bad people.
But
you don't want someone in that company, because there are people who will avoid that company and its products if they have someone like that on the staff.
Yeah. Well, no, I would for Rooster Teeth, I would say they are more interested in keeping their fans safe and harboring a safer environment, especially now with what's going on in the world. They want their fans and everyone watching them to be safe. So getting rid of people who are more likely to to not do that does make sense to me.
I mean, but it bothers me that somebody somewhere can say, and then all of a sudden, somebody who has done nothing wrong just because they're famous and people know their name, suddenly losing their jobs, their careers, their families, even.
Yeah, it's slander or libel, depending on what you go by.
Verbal,
and that is the argument of like, what was the proper protocol? I still think that the proper protocol is, take them off that until you can find out yes or no. If they didn't do anything, release a statement saying we've looked into this, we have determined that the accusations are false, and put them back in that position. If the accusations are true, that changes somewhat because if the accusations on Vic were true, then yes, I do think he should have been removed and he should have been fired. But it also comes down to, should Rooster Teeth address and say that, yes, that the accusations were true? And that's the problem, because I don't think legally they would be allowed to do it. I don't know if they could or couldn't, but...
No, but these things should not be handled. If somebody has done something like that severely to someone, that should be handled in court or something. It shouldn't be, let me blast their name and what they did all over the internet and ruin their lives.
Yeah, like that's...
And if you as a company come into the knowledge that this might have happened, not know yet, you don't release their name until you have done a thorough look.
Well, the company didn't release their name. It was everyone knew about the controversy before he was fired. Like they knew his name beforehand.
In that case, but I'm saying in other cases.
Yeah, in other cases that don't deal with big name people, yeah, that is definitely something that needs to be handled properly.
Yeah, a sense of care is required in situations when stuff like that happens, and it's not people are using the internet as a way to, like expedite the process, I suppose, but it's doing more harm than it should.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. The internet is both the best and worst thing the human race has ever created.
Well, it's powerful. It's a tool, and it can be used for powerful good or powerful ill.
It's cool. It's a wonderful tool. I don't think we as a race were ready for it.
Definitely weren't, and we're still not.
It's a powerful tool that's used as a weapon.
Well, yeah.
And it's
an axe, right? Like it can chop wood or it can chop a head off.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna build a home.
I wish, because it's like as soon as someone's name out, even if it's released that no, this person was lying or no, this didn't happen, that person's life is still trashed, because now everybody is always going to think if, and there are going to be some people who believe it even in face of like evidence to the contrary.
Yeah. I do believe that names in that situation should only ever be revealed if they are found guilty.
Yeah, if it's true. If not, like, don't release people's names.
Yeah. Like, that is... I can agree with that easily. Because there's plenty of people who are accused of something they did not do, are found innocent, and then it just ruins their life. Because people...
Yeah, like, they still can't get a job anywhere.
Yeah, because if you Google search them, they go, oh, hey, the accusation is the first thing that comes up, and then they don't read further. They just go, this person is this.
Oh, it's like, what do you think of that, like, check the box thing? Like, if you have ever been convicted of a felony, even, like, 50 years later, you still have to check a box, I was convicted of a felony, if you get a job, if you try to.
That's definitely
it's a different case.
That's a different case. Like, because it changes, because if they are guilty and they did do that, yes, but if they didn't and they were falsely convicted, then no. But how do you prove that? Because if it never comes out that it was that they were falsely convicted, then you don't know, because they could be lying or they could be telling the truth. You have no idea.
It's just it feels sometimes like we're back in the Salem witch trial. Like we haven't learned from that experience.
Oh, that's
McCarthyism even more recently. It's like a profound effect on American politics. It's
McCarthyism. What's that?
It's where, like, during the Red Scare, where basically the guy would say, this person's a communist, and he'd bring them on their show to have them defend themselves. And usually the way that would work is that they'd say, I'm not a communist, but I hear this other famous celebrity is a communist. And it just was...
okay. The Red Scare thing. Yeah, it's and like, hey, if you tell us the names of other people...
Yeah, and then there were people like Trumbo. He was a very famous director. I think he was the guy who wrote Spartacus. And he basically got blacklisted because he refused to, like, he might have actually been a communist, but he refused to name anyone. And he was just like, oh, this is America, I can think what I want. And they threw him in prison and basically said, you're never going to work in Hollywood again. And, well, he worked in Hollywood again anyways, and got so good at it that they just said, okay, fine, you can be communist.
Yeah. Like Neon said, it feels like we haven't learned anything. We haven't learned anything as a species. The phrase history, those who do not understand history are doomed to repeat it, that's true, and we always repeat it. Like it's happening right now, out in the world. Like that's what's happening. We refuse to learn from history, and here we are again.
Doomed to repeat it.
It keeps happening. Like it's the same thing with like when people get mad over something on the internet that keeps happening. Like this person did this thing and I don't like it. And 2 weeks later they do it again. And what did they do? This person did this thing. I don't like it because we don't ever hold anyone we don't hold anyone account of their actions. And
exactly, yeah, I was just gonna say, like, at the risk of sounding a bit too political, like there was George Floyd recently, and then like 6 or 8 years ago there was like the Eric Garner thing, which was like the exact same situation.
Yeah.
Got like the exact same amount of outrage, and nothing changed in that time.
Yeah, I do think this is a completely different thing than that because, for one, we are in a situation that we've never been in as a world where so much stuff had to be locked down for so long. People were unable to do anything for such a long time, being stuck at home. So they needed something to focus on. So it could have been anything that got everyone to band together. It just so happened to be the Black Lives Matter movement, which is a good thing because I do think it will bring change.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah,
I really hope so.
Yeah, because there has been a change that's needed to happen for a long time, and I do think this is going to be finally something that's going to change. I don't know if it'll change everything entirely, but I do think this is a new civil rights movement. And even then, the old civil rights movement, I think it was easily one of the most important movements for that, but it started falling apart because one person got shot. It's like, and it started falling apart. People lost interest. Like, not the people fighting, but the people who were actively against it, they stopped paying attention, which caused problems.
Oh, yeah. Which is a whole thing in and of itself. Like, it rant on and on about how, like, the government's, like, actively work to disrupt the civil rights movement, and did all sorts of horrible things. Like, one thing I recently learned, you know that Martin Luther King survived a gunshot?
Really?
Yeah, he survived a gunshot, but a nurse at the hospital smothered him.
Huh.
What?
Yeah.
Never heard.
That the other day, and it was terrifying.
That is definitely terrifying.
Yeah, like, just talking about it, like, there are tears in my eyes. Like, what the heck? How could this happen?
Imagine how
that
different the
completely
world could be if that one thing didn't happen and if he wasn't murdered.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he was like making radical progress pretty quick.
Yeah, like
It would be a different state entirely.
Yeah, there's tons of things. Like, another thing I learned recently, Black Panthers. Like, in school, you always learn that, like, they were violent and against governments. Like, they would take out government officials and stuff, right?
I've never learned about the Black Panthers in school.
Fair enough. Well, that was how I learned it. Like, that they were, like, basically held rallies where they fired a bunch of guns into the air and stuff, and they were violent people.
Essentially terrorists.
Yeah, essentially they were described as terrorists to me. I recently learned that they were more for self-defense. Like, they obtained all their guns legally, they got all the proper permits, and they would, like, go to soccer games and make sure that, like, no one attacked the soccer games and shot them up or stuff like that. They were more of a self-defense organization and stuff like that.
Well, the difference between like a terrorist and a hero is, who wins.
Yeah. Like, I know I was talking to Neon about this a while ago. The only reason why we're Americans is because, we had our forefathers were rioters that chose to fight back against their government, and now we're America. And somehow,
I feel like if America had lost, we'd hear in history tales of the evil rebels.
And going back to
what's crouching behind rocks and
going back to what's happening
Yeah,
today,
drinking from the
it
trees
is
like animals.
going back to what's happening today. It is entirely the exact same thing. We refused to learn the lesson that taught us, and here we are again. Like
one cool thing, Tim, you were talking about earlier is the people accusing each other, like the House of Un-American Activities Committee, right? Like people accusing each other of being socialists and stuff.
Hmm?
We were talking about that. One thing I learned at college was about this dude, Pete Seeger. Have you heard of him?
No.
Well, they did something similar to him, right? Where they wanted him to go up and tell people, that no, he's not. People accused him of being like a socialist or something, and he was going to be punished, sent to prison or jail or something. And instead of going up and giving names or pleading the fifth, like the right to remain silent, he pled the First Amendment in court for the right to express himself how he sees fit. And he was actually sent to they got him in court for infringing on their thing or something. What's it where you disrupt court?
Contempt.
Yeah, they got him in contempt of court when he pled the first in court.
Wow.
This musician, he was a folk musician, and it was pretty cool. Just a little positive.
Yeah.
Mom's cleaning the pool now. You don't have to.
Hmm?
Mom's cleaning the pool. You don't have to.
Okay, I'll be out there in a minute.
okay, well,
Shocking so hot.
I gotta hop off. Family thing going on.
I think that might be a good time to end this. I just want to say real quick, I know we've been talking about some more heavy stuff. Some more touchy stuff. It is never our intention to offend anyone out there. If we say something that you may find offensive, it may happen. I know it will definitely happen because
if you have an opinion, there's going to be someone who disagrees.
Yeah, because anyone who disagrees with our views will tend. Some people will get offended if you disagree with us. I understand it. And I also want to say, we are not at all the most professional in what we talk about. Like me personally, I do not know everything. That I don't know the full ramifications of everything I say and everything. I don't pay too close attention to politics and stuff. So my opinions are formed on the knowledge I have.
We are in no way heavily informed on any of these topics, not professionally, and we are not professional speakers. We have little experience with discussing these issues in a more public setting.
We are just a group of friends that want to entertain people, and if we get into rabbit holes like this, it's just we do mean the best with anything we say.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out the best way to say that.
And having a different opinion is not a cause to, it's not a call to arms if someone disagrees with you. We aren't bothered if someone disagrees with our opinions.
Oh, yeah. Just because we have two different opinions, it doesn't mean either one of us is wrong. It just means we disagree. Steve Hofstetter.
Yeah, exactly.
Good quote.
I'm typically wrong.
Yes, Neon is typically wrong. I don't know what that means since we've been agreeing with him a lot today. So,
Watch it.
I don't know. We might be circling back a little bit too much here.
What are you gonna title this one?
I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe we'll just. I kind of intended on coming in here and having one last podcast before our hiatus for a little time, because I definitely want to focus a lot more on working on the videos and stuff. And maybe next time we come back, have it be more of a we are all living together then, and it'll be easier to get things together and working.
I would love that.
So I think that this would be the end of the first run, which is not I didn't think the more political podcast we did today would be how we would end it.
Wow, the season finale got real heavy there.
Oh yeah. Can you believe it, man?
Yeah. So I really did not think that would be the end of that.
No, apologies if I don't remember exactly how we got here, but It was probably somewhat related to me, and I apologize if this causes any harm to the channel.
I think we started getting really deep into it when we started talking about Vic, about Ruby. I think that was the start.
Yeah, talking about helping bad artists.
Yeah, we were going that way, and then we started talking about Vic, and we just floored it there. Which again, this is the thing that's like I'm fine being open about my views and everything. Like if I'm not, then I would say it would be much worse for us. Like I don't want to have people who are in. I'm fine with people who are the opposite opinion, but I don't want people who will use their opinions to harm others. I don't like that.
Yeah, again, you can disagree civilly. If our opinions bother you, they are in no way meant to offend, and you're fine. If you find that us having different opinions is too big of a gap for you, just please try to keep it civil.
Yeah, I like people being civil. I don't want anyone to use their opinions to try and harm people. It goes to what I said. I think when we were talking about how I do respect that you guys went to college, even though I refuse to. Do what makes you happy as long as it doesn't harm others.
Yeah, if you're not hurting people, live your best life.
Yeah,
that didn't make me happy, so
that goes for your opinions. Everyone's gonna do what they perceive as best for themselves, but as long as it doesn't harm other people, I'm fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I gotta hop off, man. This has been entertaining.
Thanks for anyone watching. I think the title's just going to be the season finale. Just keep it simple.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys whenever we bring this back. Who knows? Maybe we won't bring back the podcast and we'll just start playing D&D. We'll put that on a different channel, though. Okay. I will definitely see you guys later. Bye.
See ya.